Well, a different signing day this February. I think this is the trend as we move forward in college football. Sean, just a drama-free, kind of a light afternoon here on a snowy Wednesday in February.
Yeah, it's kind of pour one out for the old signing day because we're not going to get it again. I mean, it just feels like this is it. I mean, and you kind of heard grumblings at Nebraska that they may not even have this press conference in February because there won't be anything to talk about. And we kind of were in that situation here on Wednesday with one guy really signing new because Noah Paula Gates signed in December. Demariyon Houston was the only addition. And that's going to be the trend. Everything is just going to keep pushing towards December, and we saw that here again for Nebraska. And I think the established programs will really be on that route, where programs that go through coaching changes. We saw Maryland have to, Kansas State, teams like that sign a lot more guys because of their situations.
Yeah, the Huskers signing 27 new players to scholarships. They have 23 walk-ons, and Scott Frost said building that roster with that walk-on program is the secret sauce that Nebraska has had for so many years.
Yeah, they really want quality in numbers, and they want that roster size just a little bit bigger. I mean, I think it got to the point where Nebraska was almost down to about a 120, 125-man roster. They would like it to about 155, I think. That's kind of their number. And they feel like that extra cycle of 30 players that they could bring in and out year over year is going to produce 2, 3, 4, 5 guys that are going to be the difference. Guys that could maybe be a Brandon Riley or a Sam Foltz, the walk-on type difference makers, and Andy Janovich that you're able to cycle in and develop because of the facilities and things you have here to offer these athletes.
Of the 27 scholarship players, 7 are already enrolled as early enrollees, and Scott Frost likes what he sees out of that group.
Yeah, it's a really, really impressive group. I think Wandale Robinson, if I were to mark it down who I'm looking forward to seeing in that red-white game, he's right up there for me. But, I loved his comment about Garrett Nelson, because everybody in the room that has seen or been around Garrett, he called him a wild man, and I think that was the perfect way to say it. He is always, in a good way, just hair on fire, ready to roll, ready to compete. And I think even though these guys have only been here for a month, you can tell that they've had an impact already in the locker room just with some of the things they've brought to the table.
And I think this spring as compared to the last spring, obviously there's a difference because of the time that Scott Frost and his crew has been here, but you could really sense he was at total ease and in command of this press conference, where last year there's just a lot of stuff swimming around at that point, and he loves where his strength and conditioning program is at now and looks forward to it getting even better.
Yeah, you get the sense he wants to get to a point where they're away from the new and the hype. I mean, they want this to be just a status quo, boring spring, in their words. I mean, they don't want a lot of unnecessary storylines and question marks. They've got the quarterback. They've got some of these things established that they want to do going in. So I really do think this will be somewhat a status quo spring, but still a lot of excitement. I mean, less than almost 8,000 tickets remain, and that's it already. And the tickets have only been on sale for 2 days.
Scott Frost says his group is about a half of a recruiting cycle behind, but he's not too worried about that, saying that he'll be able to catch up and his crew will be able to catch up in this next coming 12 months. So what do we expect coming over the next 5 weeks before spring practice begins March 4th?
It's going to be a quieter time. Coaches are going to go on vacation. I think 1 week the offense goes out on vacation, then the defense. I think Scott Frost will get the chance to get away somewhere. And so this is, a rare 2-week plus window where the coaches will get a little break before they have to start getting ready for spring practice. Spring practice starts March 4th. So there's a lot, obviously, that has to get ready for then. But, the coaches are going to get a much-needed break as they've been on the road all of December and all of January. And, when I say all of, I mean, they're gone, 5 days a week, and they get back to town on Friday and go back out on Sunday. So it's a grind, and I think these guys definitely get a little break now.
And finally, the structure of spring practice, a little more condensed this spring?
Well, they're going to start earlier. And, last year Nebraska wanted to go later to kind of give the players more winter conditioning time. This year they're going to start March 4th. It's going to be 6 weeks, which is the most.
So spread out a little more.
It's going to be the most you are allowed to do. NCAA rules allow you to have your 15 practices over a 6-week period. Nebraska's going to go 3 practices a week, with one of the weeks being a spring break week. So you'll have 5 weeks of 3 practices per week. That counts the red-white game. Monday, Wednesday, Friday formatting for the most part. I think there's going to be 1 Saturday practice in there, but they'll stick to that morning schedule. Very, very popular thing for the married life of members of the media.
Yeah, absolutely. First practice is March 4th. The spring game is Saturday, April 13th.